barefoot. He's home with no shoes on, and he's home with, well, that's a little thing, but there's so, when you put all the things together.
Barefoot used to be, as they said in those days, a symbol in some cultures for death. And
They buried people
Yeah, but
without
if you
shoes.
listen to Penny Lane backwards, it says, no, we met George.
Yeah, right.
that's comedy.
Who started the rumor Paul is dead?
That's what we're talking about.
Who started it?
Oh, who started it?
Lou Yeager at.
We think a publicity person.
It was
who
Lou
trying
Yeager started it
You think?
at Hofstra. I know.
Okay.
And it was picked up by the disc jockey at
Roby Young
WABC.
at WABC.
Roby.
He was
Yeah,
on
Picked
the
it up
guy
from
who
picked
got
it up from
fired.
Lou Yeager.
Rick
Right.
Sklar got out of bed in his pajamas with an overcoat, got the guard from the lobby upstairs to the 8th floor to WABC where Roby was breaking form up and talking about this instead of playing records. Had the guard escort him out, and Les Marshak came in as the fill-in jock.
Yes. Of course, what they also don't tell you is that Roby had been fired a few days before. And so,
Yeah.
for him. it was
So
like,
he was
well,
fooling around.
Well,
Had
it's like,
nothing
well,
to
like, what
lose.
do I care?
Had nothing to lose.
Well, all of us
You know.
guys ruined our needles by playing the record backwards. So has Paul McCartney been here?
No, Paul, none of the Beatles have ever been here. It was very sad, though, to find out. Vanessa's our next door neighbor, by the way. This is Vanessa.
You're very beautiful, Vanessa.
Thank you.
Don't do that again.
I won't. My clones are really ugly.
Our next door neighbor, 2 doors down, right now is a nice lady and a guy. But when they bought the house, they bought it from Delaney Bramlett. He lived on the corner here. And I knew Delaney a little bit. I would see him when I was jogging. I'd stop. We'd always talk. He was a really pleasant guy, but he was always drunk. He always had beers in his hand. He was always drunk. And so he invited me to a few things, and I went. But most of the time, I didn't go out of my way to try to hang out with him because he just could barely walk. And I always liked hanging out with sober people better. And now I could kick myself because I found out later, after he died, which is about 4 years ago, that almost every weekend Leon Russell came over, Chris Christopherson came over, and his best friend was Eric Clapton, who he helped put on the map. Who else? There were so many. Jerry Lee Lewis came over all the time.
You said Mick Fleetwood.
Mick Fleetwood came over. All these famous people. Paul Williams was over all the time. And one time Mick Fleetwood came over here, maybe 5 years ago, and when he was leaving with his wife, he spent 9.5 hours here, just seeing everything. He just loved it so much. He came over twice, but the first time, he was here 5.5 hours. As we're leaving, he stayed 3 more hours later the same day. He said, I know this area, Shadow Hill's so beautiful, so gorgeous. I know this. I said, Mick, you don't know Shadow Hills. What makes you think you know Shadow Hills? I've been here. Well, what do you mean you've been? And it dawned on me, what an idiot I was. Delaney's daughter was in Fleetwood Mac for 2 years.
Oh!
And I totally forgot that Becca, who, when I found this house in 1978, her and with the big room over that we all spent in, that big room, that was not there then. It was an outdoor brick cement patio. The whole size, it was real big. The roof of the house went over it, but it was outside.
Oh.
We didn't use it for anything except a couple parties. It was real ugly. It was just, it needed to be different, but it was an outdoor party. So when I drove up here to see this house, the day I first saw it, there were 2 little 9-year-old girls roller skating on there. Nobody lived here.
Right.
And when they saw us, they thought they were going to jail. They thought, oh my God. It turned out it was Becca Bramlett, his daughter, who later became, the girl in Fleetwood Mac to replace Christine
McVie.
whichever one she replaced, for a couple of years. Never recorded on albums, but toured for 2 years. And it dawned on me when Mick was leaving, when he said, so we walked in, knocked on the door, there's Delaney, he comes out, comes back over here. And this is one of my heartaches in my life. I feel like a total idiot for not pursuing it, but he is seeing the collection only for a second time. He saw it like 20 years before. And he came over the second time with Mick, and he says, I can't believe I've forgotten about this collection. I saw it when you got married 20 years ago, and it's so incredible. He said, what I wouldn't give to bring some of my friends over here. And he started mentioning all the people that come over to his house every weekend, And I heard the music. You could have heard it too if you lived here then. You'd hear the music from the garage. They just jammed every weekend. And I kept thinking, should I walk over? It's just him and some people I don't know from big different bands maybe, I should have gone over. I kick myself now. Because when he said to Mick Fleetwood, one of the greatest, I don't mean to brag, but you guys can imagine the compliments I got on this collection in this house.
Yeah.
The greatest one I ever got was Delaney sang to Mick Fleetwood. He said, this is so unbelievable. I can't believe I've forgotten that this is here. I had 2 people over here just in the last couple of weekends, and Steve, I'd give anything if you'd allow me to bring Eric and George over.
Wow.
And I said, yeah, I can handle that. I could do that. Okay. Now, George died a month later, or he would have done it. And then Delaney died a year later. But the compliment was, I forgot to tell you the compliment. So the compliment was, he asked if he could bring them. And he said, the compliment was, he said, Steve, if I bring them over, George will love this collection. Eric will come here and never leave. That was my favorite line of all time. He will never leave.
That's great.
And I really should pursue getting Eric Clapton over here if that's true, if he's such a big music fan. And his manager is Rich Fitzgerald, who used to be at Reprise. I know him pretty well. I should probably. But I tell you, it's a tough thing. I've had many artists over. Bill Medley and Diane Warren and tons of people like Little Anthony and the Imperials and, you know, lots and lots of artists and every major DJ and so many great people. But it's sometimes tough. Rick Dees, I've told him 7 times. He said, I've got to come over, but he never makes it. He was supposed to come today. And it's tough to tell people what this is. You know, I mean, I had, most of you should know Barry Mann and Cynthia Weil that are right up there on the other side in the hallway. There's a picture of them. Barry Mann and Cynthia Weil. Anybody not know who they are? They're 2 of the greatest songwriters in the history of the music business. They probably wrote more hits than the Beatles did, than Lennon McCartney. They wrote The Locomotion. You've Lost That Love and Feeling. They had over, I think, 70 or 80 songs make the top 20. And they came over one night by accident with Bill Medley. Bill Medley came over just to pick something up. He had been here before. I'm sorry, that was his first time. And so I wanted to show him the vinyl room, which we're all going to go see in a few minutes. And he says, I've got 2 people in the car. I really can't go. You do that now, you know. And I said, well, I was giving him a Betamax, something brand new called a Betamax. And he said, well, I said, if you want the Betamax, you got to come see what I got. Okay, so we walked downstairs and he saw the video room, the highlight of the whole tour that you're going to see in a few minutes. And he said, I got 2 people that have to see this, you know, Barry Mann and Cynthia Weil, 2 of the greatest songwriters in history of anybody. So he went down, and I was married to a girl named Mary right there, who's in that picture right there with doing Ringo's makeup. Her and I could hear from the kitchen. They parked the car by the garage over there, if you remember the driveway. And he's dragging Barry Mann and Cynthia Weil up the driveway, and we can hear him outside. Bill, we have seen records before. We don't need to go see records. We got our little 2-month-old baby at home in Beverly Hills. We got to get home. We got a babysitter. We got to get home now. We don't have to go see records. We've seen records before.
That sounds like Cynthia.
Now, they had just Bill Medley had just played, first time separate from the Righteous Brothers, his first individual thing at the Palomino on Lancashire, which was there then, and it ended at 11 o'clock. I saw him 2 nights before. He played Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. This is Thursday night. So I already saw him the Tuesday night, and he had just signed with us at United Artists. So he's dragging them up the driveway. So I will never forget this. This is the greatest story. Listen to this. He brings them in, and they say, hi, Barry Mann, Steve. Great to see you. We have a baby. We have a little baby in Beverly Hills, and we've only got about a minute. So we don't mean to be rude, but can we see what you want to show us? And we've got to be on the road like in a minute and a half. And they called the babysitter. Brenda, can you stay? We're on the way home real soon. Now the show, I knew what time the show, it ended at 11 o'clock Tuesday night, so it probably ended at 11 on Thursday night when they came over, and they got there at 11:15. So I knew what time it was. It was 11:15, 11:20 when they walked in the door. Okay? Now I don't have a phone, but I'll pretend this is a phone.
Here.
They come downstairs. She always helps me with phones. I couldn't type without her helping me. So we go downstairs. They see the collection. Okay? And back then, the whole entire collection, the museum, was only downstairs. Now it's the entire house. But they come downstairs. Now it's 11:20, 11:25. I show them what you guys are going to see in a little while. At 11:30, Brenda, can you stay a little longer?
Like the weekend?
And there were no cell phones then. They had to use my phone. At 12:30, an hour later, Steve, can we use your phone again? Brenda, can you stay a little longer? At 1:30, 2 o'clock, 2:30, 3, 3:30. They left at 4:30 in the morning. Okay, seeing what you guys are going to see in a little while. Okay, so now here's the kicker.